She cheated on me in a toilet at her dad's wedding, so I canceled everything, told his wife, blocked her entire family, and started becoming the man she'll regret losing. I should have known something was off when Jasmine spent 40 minutes deciding between two identical shades of lipstick. The lighting at the vineyard will wash me out, she said, tilting her phone screen to catch the bathroom light. Fourth selfie in 10 minutes. I adjusted my tie and said nothing. After 4 years together, I'd learned when to stay quiet. Her father Philip was getting married again. Third time. This one was Bianca, an interior designer half his age who laughed too loud at his jokes and called everyone darling. The wedding was at some exclusive vineyard 2 hours north of the city, the kind of place where they charge you $500 just to park. You ready? I asked, checking my watch. I run my life on schedules, field surveys at dawn, reports filed by noon, meetings concluded by 5. Precision matters when you're managing ecosystem restoration. Chaos in nature follows patterns. Chaos in relationships should too. 5 more minutes, Jasmine said, switching lipsticks again. 20 minutes later we were in my truck, her complaining about the suspension while texting rapidly. Her phone screen faced away from me. New habit, last month or so. Who's got you typing novels? I asked, merging onto the highway. Just confirming with the florist team. Daddy wanted extra arrangements for the photo booth area. She locked her phone and smiled at me. That smile used to hit different. You know how he gets about details. I knew how Philip got about everything. The man owned half the commercial real estate in 3 counties and treated his businesses like chess pieces. Jasmine had inherited his need for control but none of his work ethic. She played at being a high-end florist, but most of her clients came through Philip's connections. The vineyard was exactly what you'd expect. Rolling hills, imported marble, and enough flowers to supply a botanical garden. Jasmine had done the arrangements, her signature style of overwhelming excess that rich people mistook for elegance. John. Philip grabbed my hand in both of his, that practiced politician grip. Good to see you, son. Jasmine says you're up for another promotion? Regional director position opened up, I said. Decision comes next month. Excellent, excellent. Bianca, darling, come meet John properly. Bianca floated over in a cloud of perfume and smiled like we were old friends. Jasmine's told me so much about you. 4 years together? When are you going to make an honest woman of her? Jasmine's laugh was sharp. Bianca, please. What? Your father and I got engaged after 6 months. When you know, you know. She winked at me. Though I suppose some men need more time to be sure. I smiled back, flat and measured. I prefer to make informed decisions. The ceremony was standard rich people theater. Philip teared up on cue. Bianca's vows included the word journey 12 times. Jasmine stood as a bridesmaid, checking her phone behind her bouquet when she thought no one was looking. The reception kicked into high gear after sunset. I nursed a single whiskey while Jasmine worked the room, air-kissing people she'd trash talk later. She'd been drinking champagne like water, getting louder with each glass. I need to check on the arrangements in the West Wing, she announced, wobbling slightly on her heels. The caterers might have moved them. Want me to come? I offered. No. Keep Daddy company. Bryce wants to talk to you about some environmental consulting thing. She squeezed my shoulder and disappeared into the crowd. Bryce. Philip's business partner, married to Gloria something or other who was home with their kids. The man had been eyeing me all night like I was a problem to solve. I gave it 10 minutes, then headed for the restroom. The main one had a line of drunk groomsmen, so I went looking for another. The venue had dozens of corridors, all designed to look accidentally elegant. That's when I smelled it. Jasmine's perfume, some French thing that cost more than most people's rent. But underneath it, something else. Cologne, cheap and aggressive. The combination hung in the air like evidence. Then I heard the laugh. Muffled, coming from the men's room ahead. A man's voice, then hers, then my name. Poor John, the male voice said. He actually thinks. The rest was lost behind the door. I pushed open the stall door. Empty. But the wet footprints on the marble led straight to a service exit. And there on the floor, catching the overhead light, was Jasmine's pearl earring. The one from her grandmother's set. The one she never took off. I picked up the earring, rolled it between my fingers. The post was bent, like it had been pulled off in a hurry. The wet footprints were already starting to evaporate, but they led straight through that service door. I could have walked away. Could have gone back to the reception, finished my whiskey, Pretended I hadn't connected the dots. But I've spent 10 years tracking wildlife through urban environments. You don't ignore signs that obvious. My phone was already recording when I pushed through the service door. The corridor was narrower here, fluorescent lights instead of chandeliers. Staff territory. The footprints continued around a corner, and I could hear voices now. Clear. Familiar. Can't keep doing this at family events, Jasmine was saying, but she was laughing. That loose, champagne laugh that meant she was past caring about consequences. Your father's too drunk to notice anything, the man replied. Bryce. Of course it was Bryce. Besides, Gloria thinks I'm in Seattle closing the Harrison deal. Poor Gloria, Jasmine said, and I heard rustling fabric. Almost as oblivious as John. Did you see him during the ceremony? Taking mental notes like he's studying one of his precious ecosystems. Does he still wake up at 5 to catalog birds or whatever? 5:15 now. He sets 3 alarms. More laughter. Last week he showed me a spreadsheet of native plant species for the backyard of that house he wants us to buy. A spreadsheet, Bryce. For plants. Christ. How do you stand it? 6 more months, she said. After your merger with Daddy goes through, we won't need to pretend anymore. John's promotion comes with a relocation package. I'll let him move alone, play the heartbroken girlfriend, and Daddy will comfort me with a bigger trust payment. I stepped around the corner, phone steady. They were in an alcove by a storage room, Jasmine's dress hiked up, Bryce's jacket on the floor. They didn't see me. Too busy pawing at each other like teenagers behind the bleachers. I got 30 seconds of clear video before stepping back. Silent. Controlled. The same way I document wildlife, invisible, patient, thorough. I walked back through the service door, pocketed the earring, and returned to the reception. Jasmine appeared 20 minutes later, both earrings somehow back in place, touching up her lipstick at the table. The arrangements were fine, she said, not meeting my eyes. Just needed adjusting. Good, I said. Bryce was looking for you, actually. Something about the Singapore accounts. She stiffened slightly. When? Maybe 15 minutes ago. He seemed stressed about it. I watched her process this, trying to figure out if Bryce had mentioned seeing her. The mental gymnastics were almost visible. I'll find him later, she said finally. Let's dance. They're playing our song. We didn't have a song. But I stood up, took her hand, and let her lead me onto the floor. She pressed close, perfume mixing with the smell of someone else's cologne. I counted the beats, turned when expected, and thought about the spreadsheet of native plants she'd mocked. That house was going to have an incredible pollinator garden. Just not with her in it. I'm not feeling well, I said after 2 songs. Think it was the salmon. I'm going to head home. Now? It's my father's wedding. Stay, I said. Your family needs you here. I'll send a car back for you later. She kissed my cheek, relief flooding her features. You're the best. Feel better, babe. The drive home took 90 minutes. I used the time to think, plan, process. By the time I pulled into our garage, I had a checklist. First, evidence. Her iPad was on the nightstand, logged into her messages. The synchronization she'd begged me to set up was about to become very useful. I screenshotted everything. 6 months of messages with Bryce. Hotel receipts. Photos I definitely hadn't taken. Plans to manipulate the merger timeline. References to Gloria's planned vacation dates. Then I found something else. A message thread with Bianca from 3 weeks ago. Remember, darling, what happened with Trevor stays between us. Philip doesn't need to know about your little indiscretions. Jasmine's reply, just like he doesn't need to know about you and his lawyer. Then, from today, 2 hours before the ceremony, keep Daddy distracted tonight. Bryce and I need time. Bianca, done. I'll have Philip introduce John to everyone with a business card. Should buy you at least an hour. I sat back in my desk chair, staring at the screen. This wasn't just an affair. This was a conspiracy. I opened a new spreadsheet. Not for native plants this time. Column A, assets to separate. Column B, timeline. Column C, method. When you've spent years managing complex restoration projects, you learn that destruction requires just as much planning as creation. First, the finances. I pulled up our accounts, watching the numbers tell their story. 3,000 here, 4,000 there, always withdrawn when I was in the field. The joint savings we'd built for the house was down 30%. She'd been bleeding it for months, probably funding hotel rooms and whatever else her father's money couldn't cover. I transferred my checking to a new account. Moved my emergency fund. Changed the passwords on everything that mattered. The retirement account would take paperwork, but I started the forms. Then I went deeper into her messages. Bryce's insider trading was almost comically obvious. Daddy mentioned the waterfront development is going through. Next day, Bryce's LLC buys adjacent properties. The environmental review delayed on the North Shore project. Bryce shorts the construction company. I documented everything. Screenshots, dates, amounts. Built a timeline that would make a prosecutor weep with joy. My phone buzzed. Jasmine, staying at Daddy's tonight. Too drunk to drive. Love you. Perfect. I had all night. The apartment lease was month to month. I opened the portal and declined the renewal. 60 days notice. More than enough time. The venue I'd booked for the proposal, some garden conservatory she'd mentioned loving, cancelled with a full refund. The ring deposit came back too. I'd never actually pulled the trigger on that purchase. Something had always felt off. By 3 a.m., I'd unwound 4 years of entanglement in 6 hours. But I wasn't done. I drove to my office at the conservation center. Empty on a Sunday, just how I needed it. I had a contact at Harrington Environmental, Philip's biggest competitor. They'd been courting me for 2 years. Better position, 40% raise, relocation to their Pacific Northwest division. I'd turned them down 3 times because Jasmine didn't want to leave her father's territory. I drafted the email accepting their offer. Started immediately, no negotiation needed. Then I started a different kind of documentation. Every text where Jasmine mentioned the merger. Every time she'd ask seemingly innocent questions about Philip's business that she'd passed to Bryce. The pattern was clear once you looked for it. My lawyer friend Monica was awake, new baby, she lived on East Coast time now. I called her. John? It's late even for you. I need to know about recording laws and financial fraud. Jesus. What happened? I explained. She listened without interrupting, then said, send me everything. And John? You're handling this right. Don't confront her. Document and extract. Monday came fast. I called in sick to work, first time in 3 years. Spent the morning at the bank, separating everything. The afternoon at a new apartment complex across town, signing a lease that started in 2 weeks. Jasmine came home Monday evening, hungover and chatty. Daddy's thinking of promoting Bryce to full partner, she said, dropping shopping bags on the counter. The merger's moving faster than expected. That's nice, I said, not looking up from my laptop. You okay? You've been weird since the wedding. Just work stuff. The regional position has more competition than I thought. She walked over, ran her fingers through my hair. A gesture that once meant comfort. Now it felt like surveillance. You'll get it, she said. You always do. So methodical, so careful. It's what I love about you. Speaking of careful, I said, turning to face her. I found this at the venue. I held up the pearl earring. Her hand went to her ear instinctively, then dropped. Oh. I wondered where that went. Must have fallen off during the reception. Must have, I agreed, handing it over. She kissed my forehead. I'm going to shower. Want to order Thai food? Sure. I watched her walk to the bathroom, already texting someone. Probably Bryce. Probably panicking about the earring. Let her wonder what else I'd found. My phone buzzed. Monica had reviewed everything. This is federal wire fraud, her message read. SEC violation. Possibly RICO if Bianca's involved. How soon can you meet with Philip's competitor? I typed back, tomorrow. Why? Because they'll want this information. And John? Check if Harrington Environmental has any pending deals with Philip's company. I pulled up the business registrations. There it was. Harrington was about to announce a joint venture with Philip's biggest development. Worth $200 million. Due to close next Monday. Tuesday morning. I met with Harrington's CEO at 7 a.m. Patricia Harrington ran the company her grandfather started, and she had a reputation for eating corporate predators for breakfast. John, she said, studying the documents I'd handed her. This is significant. The merger they're planning interferes with your joint venture, I said. Bryce has been buying properties you'll need for phase 2, her jaw tightened. And you're certain about the insider trading? Every transaction is documented. My lawyer says it's federal. Patricia leaned back. What do you want? The job you offered. Starting Monday. And I want to be gone before this detonates. Done. She slid a contract across the table. Sign now. Moving expenses included. We'll announce your appointment Sunday morning. I signed. She made a phone call while I was still sitting there. Legal? I need you to review some documents. Immediately. The rest of the week, I played normal. Went to work. Came home. Listened to Jasmine complain about difficult clients. Thursday night, she mentioned Bryce had gotten her a new client, some tech executive's wedding, massive budget. That's great, I said, packing boxes when she wasn't looking. Labeled them winter gear and old field equipment. She never questioned it. Saturday arrived like a deadline. Jasmine left early for a client meeting that I knew was Bryce, based on her messages. I had 4 hours. I loaded my truck with everything that mattered. Documentation, equipment, the few possessions I cared about. Left the furniture, the art she'd chosen, the life we'd built on lies. Then I sat at my laptop and composed a single social media post. Integrity matters. When someone shows you who they are through their actions, believe them. I've ended my relationship with Jasmine after discovering her affair with a married man at her father's wedding. I wish her the growth she needs. I attached 3 images, the pearl earring on the bathroom floor, the wet footprints leading to the service door, and a single screenshot of her message to Bryce. John's so oblivious, we could do it in his truck and he wouldn't notice. Posted at exactly noon. Then I drove to Philip's house. The doorman knew me, waved me through. I found Philip and Bianca having brunch on their terrace, the Sunday paper spread between them. John. Philip stood. Wasn't expecting you. Where's Jasmine? With Bryce, I said, placing an envelope on the table. You should read this. Bianca's champagne glass stopped halfway to her lips. Philip opened the envelope. I'd been selective, just the messages between Bianca and Jasmine about covering affairs, manipulating him, and the lawyer situation. His face went from confused to pale to something I'd never seen before. Bianca? His voice was quiet. Dangerous. She was already standing, backing away. Philip, darling, I can explain? And this? He held up the pages. This is Jasmine discussing you. With my daughter. About my lawyer. About making me look like a fool. I turned to leave. John, wait. Philip's voice cracked. Is there more? Ask your daughter. Or check your phone. I'm sure my post has reached your circle by now. I left them there, Bianca crying, Philip stone-faced. The elevator ride down felt like freedom. My phone exploded with notifications. Hundreds of reactions, comments, shares. Jasmine's friends choosing sides in real time. Her clients asking questions. I turned it off and drove to my new apartment. Started unpacking. Set up my home office. Hung my certificates on the wall. At 4 p.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Is this John? A woman's voice, professional but strained. Yes. This is Gloria. Bryce's wife. I saw your post. A pause. I'm a prosecutor with the district attorney's office. White collar division. My pulse steadied. I see. The screenshot you posted. Is there more? Significantly more. Can we meet? Tonight? I'm already driving back from my mother's house. I looked at the boxes still packed, the new life waiting to be built. 1 hour. Coffee shop on 5th and Morrison. I'll be there. She hung up. I sat in my empty apartment, looking at the sunset through unfamiliar windows. Gloria wasn't just any prosecutor. She was the lead on financial crimes. And she sounded like she'd been waiting for this. Gloria arrived 15 minutes early. I watched her through the coffee shop window, navy suit, no wedding ring, legal pad already out. She'd come straight from her mother's, but looked like she'd been preparing for war. John. She didn't shake my hand, just sat down and opened her laptop. Show me everything. I slid a USB drive across the table. Organized by date. Financial transactions highlighted. She plugged it in, scrolled for 30 seconds, then looked up. You know what this is? Wire fraud. SEC violations. Your husband's been insider trading on information from Jasmine about her father's developments. For how long? 6 months documented. Probably longer. Gloria's laugh was sharp, bitter. I've been investigating similar patterns in 3 other cases. Never could find the source. She pulled up a spreadsheet. These LLCs, they're all Bryce's? Check the registration addresses. All variations of properties he owns. Her fingers flew across the keyboard. Jesus Christ. He's been using our vacation home address. There's more. The waterfront development, the North Shore delay, he acted on information before public announcements. Every time. Gloria's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, smiled coldly. Bryce is texting. Wants to know why I'm not at my mother's. She typed back without looking at me. Told him car trouble. Staying another night. She returned to the files, taking notes in shorthand I couldn't read. Professional. Methodical. The kind of person who'd been building a case in her head long before she had evidence. I need to ask, she said without looking up. Why give this to me? You could have gone straight to the SEC. Bigger reward. I don't want a reward. I want them to face consequences from someone who understands the betrayal. She met my eyes then. I threw out his golf clubs last month. He thinks the garage got broken into. Small satisfaction, but it helped. What actually made you suspicious? Charges at hotels when he was supposedly at conferences. Calls he'd take in the garage. The way he'd panic when I touched his phone. She closed the laptop. I'm filing tomorrow. Divorce and criminal charges simultaneously. That's aggressive. I'm done being passive. She stood. By Wednesday, his assets will be frozen. I've already moved everything that's mine. My mother's not sick, by the way. She's a retired judge. We've been planning this. Smart. John, this investigation will pull in Jasmine. Probably Philip's whole company. I know. You're okay with that? I'm already gone. New job, new city. What happens to them isn't my concern anymore. Gloria nodded. The Harrington announcement tomorrow, that's you? Regional Director. Pacific Northwest Division. Good for you. She packed her laptop. One more thing. Bianca? She's got her own history. Different name 5 years ago. Melissa something. Check the Nevada records. She left. I sat there finishing my coffee, watching normal people living normal lives. My phone had been silent for hours. I turned it on to find 47 missed calls from Jasmine, 23 from Philip, and 1 text from my new boss. Saw the drama. Your position is secure. See you Monday. I drove back to my empty apartment. Started hanging pictures, setting up my life. At midnight, Jasmine started pounding on the door of our old place. I watched through the security app as she screamed at the darkness, not knowing I was 15 miles away in a different world. Monday came fast. The Harrington announcement went out at 8 a.m. By 9, I was in my new office. By 10, the news broke, Bryce arrested at his firm, FBI raid on his home office. Gloria had moved like lightning. My phone rang. Philip. John, I need to understand something. What's that? The house on Belmont. The one you and Jasmine were going to buy. You put an offer on it Friday. I had. All cash, no contingencies. What about it? Why? Because I still want it. Just not with her. Silence. Then, she's been staying in her car. Bianca's gone. I've frozen Jasmine's accounts pending the investigation. Not my problem. John. I hung up. Blocked the number. Went back to reviewing wetland surveys. Tuesday morning, local news covered the arrest. Jasmine was named as a co-conspirator. Her florist business shut down overnight, clients pulling out, vendors demanding payment. Wednesday, I closed on the house. Thursday, I started demolition on the interior. Friday, I submitted plans to convert it into something unprecedented. Saturday morning, 6 months later, I stood in what used to be the living room. Now it was something else entirely. And Jasmine had just pulled into the driveway. The living room had become a research station. Climate-controlled vivariums lined the walls, housing rescued native species. Where Jasmine had wanted a granite kitchen island, I'd installed an examination table for injured wildlife. Her dream walk-in closet was now a supply room for the urban conservation program. I watched her through the window. 6 months had carved her down to sharp angles. Designer clothes replaced with discount store basics. The Mercedes gone, replaced with some beater Honda. She stood at my front door, hand raised to knock, frozen. I opened it before she could decide. Hello, Jasmine. Her mouth opened, closed. You bought it. I did. Can I come in? No. She looked past me, saw the transformation. What did you do to it? Made it useful. It's the new headquarters for our urban wildlife restoration program. We teach kids about native species, run a rehabilitation center for injured animals. Our dining room is a classroom now. We had 43rd graders here yesterday learning about pollinator gardens. Her face crumpled, then hardened. You did this to hurt me. I did this because it needed to be done. Your feelings weren't a factor. John, please. I've lost everything. Daddy won't speak to me. The business is gone. Bryce is in federal prison. I've been living in my car for 3 weeks. I'm aware. You're aware? Her voice cracked. That's all? What did you expect? That I'd forgive you? Take you back? Let you move into the house we planned together? I made mistakes. You made choices. Calculated ones. For 6 months minimum, probably longer. She stepped closer. I didn't move. I'm in therapy now. Court mandated, but I'm going. I understand what I did wrong. Good. That's growth. I still love you. No, you don't. You love the stability I represented. The predictable schedule, the steady progression, the safe choice while you played your games. That's not fair. Isn't it? You called me oblivious to Bryce. Mocked my spreadsheets. Laughed about my morning routine while planning to abandon me after securing your trust fund. Her hand went to where her pearl earring would have been. A tell she'd never lost. I was drunk. Stupid. Influenced by. Stop. You were clear-minded enough to coordinate with Bianca. Strategic enough to extract insider information. Careful enough to hide it for months. Don't insult my intelligence by playing victim now. A van pulled up. My team for the afternoon session. Kelsey stepped out first, saw Jasmine, and paused. I shook my head slightly. She started directing the others to the side entrance. Who's that? Jasmine's voice turned sharp. Marine biologist. We're partner organizations on the Watershed Project. You're dating her? Not a question. I didn't answer. Didn't know her that information. John, I need help. Just temporarily. A loan, a place to stay, something. I'll pay you back. No. You won't even? Jasmine, you're trespassing. This is a registered educational facility. You need to leave. She pulled out her phone, showed me the screen. I took pictures through the windows last night. Of everything you've done. I could make trouble. Say you're violating residential zoning, running a business. We have full permits. City council approval. A grant from the state. And security cameras that recorded you trespassing on private property after dark. I pulled out my phone, showed her the footage. Her, at 2 a.m., trying to jimmy the back door. That's breaking and entering. Attempted burglary. With your current legal situation, do you really want to add charges? The fight drained out of her. What am I supposed to do? Whatever you need to. Away from here. You really won't help me? After 4 years? I already helped you. Your father got the security footage this morning with a note suggesting you need treatment, not enablement. He called an hour ago. There's a bed waiting for you at St. Mary's residential program. 90 days, fully covered. The court will count it toward your sentencing requirements. She stared at me. You're still managing my life? No. I'm removing you from mine. The program is your father's decision. But if you show up here again, I'll file a restraining order. Kelsey appeared in the doorway behind me. John? The kids are here for the afternoon program. Be right there. I turned back to Jasmine. You should go. Check in at St. Mary's. Do the work. Build something real for once. She walked to her car, stopped, turned back. I'm sorry. I know. That's growth too. I closed the door. Through the window, I watched her drive away. My phone buzzed, Philip, confirming she'd agreed to treatment. Kelsey touched my shoulder. You okay? Perfect. Let's go teach kids about ecosystem recovery. We walked into the classroom where 15 eager faces waited. I pulled up the presentation about urban restoration, about taking damaged environments and transforming them into something that serves the community. The first slide was a before and after of the house. Today, we're going to learn how to rebuild. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you really like our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.